Good evening. I'd like to call to order the City of Haslet Planning and Zoning Commission meeting. Today's date is Tuesday, March 25th, 2025. The time is 6:30 p.m. This meeting is being conducted by video conference and in person. We do have a quorum present this evening. I've got a couple items of community interest. First, the City of Haslet's general election is going to be held on Saturday, May 3rd, and the election polling times are from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m., and this is for the purpose of electing a mayor, City Council Place 2, and City Council Place 4, and the early voting period is will be opening soon. And then on Saturday, April 12th, starting at 4 p.m., we got our annual Easter egg hunt, so bring the kids, grandkids, have a lot of fun at the city park. Moving on, agenda item 4 is our consent agenda, and we have up for discussion and review the meeting minutes from our regularly scheduled February 25th meeting.
I'll make a motion, we accept them as presented.
Okay, there's a motion made to accept the minutes as presented. Any other?
I'll second.
Made motion second. All in favor? Motion passes.
I abstain.
And one abstention. Agenda item 5A, discuss, consider, and act regarding the approval of a final plat for lots 1 and 2, Block 1, 504 Schoolhouse Road Addition. And we're going to begin with our staff presentation.
I have a quick question. Was that where that greenhouse was? Because there was a house, and now the house is gone. So I don't know if this is the same piece of land. No, there wasn't, okay.
And was every detail on this document reviewed carefully? And the reason I asked that question is, like, fence post found, they don't use the same abbreviation, even if they intended to abbreviate, they aren't using the same abbreviations. There was a couple of inconsistencies in some of the way they documented things, and I just wondered if we thoroughly checked every aspect of this thing for accuracy. So if you go in the top left corner, you see fence post found. They typed it out, or they wrote it as FENC. Then if you go to the lower right corner, it's FNC. So there's a couple of inconsistencies. I don't care that they abbreviated or did that. I just wonder how accurate all the rest of the information is in the document when something as simple as that, there's inconsistencies. Well, they didn't fully spell fence up in the upper left, and then they abbreviated it differently in the lower right. So I just ask, have we thoroughly checked every aspect of this document to make sure that there's no other inconsistencies or errors and there's accuracy throughout the document?
Yeah, our engineering has people very thorough on this, and they did have some comments to begin with, and the comments were addressed.
Okay. Yeah, because I would have no way to know whether these degrees and the longitude, latitudinal degree information is accurate or inaccurate, but
So this is in the floodway, so there's no construction allowed on the majority of all of this. I mean, half of everything here.
That'd be correct.
Yeah. No,
And what you can do, you can approve a subject plan correcting that abbreviations. We'll make sure they do.
Yeah, and the abbreviations don't cause me a problem. I mean, I know exactly what they're referring to, a fence post, right? But I just asked the question, did we thoroughly review every other attribute on this thing to make sure there's not inconsistencies or errors that are material? That's what that's what I'm trying to understand. Okay.
I have a question for you. I mean, this is, the zoning in this area is R2, right?
That is correct.
And is there, so, I mean, dividing it into where you can't put a building on it in R2, I mean, is there a plan for them to put a house in there in the future?
Yes.
And if so, did they have to come back before us to present that?
No.
All right, okay. Well, I guess then a follow-on, if they do want to put a house in there, they're going to have to find some way of either raising the land out of the floodplain. And will they have to bring that back if they're going to alter the floodplain? So they're just going to build in the flood zone? Okay, so they're going to use that small area out of the flood zone?
That is correct.
Okay,
They still have to meet square footage and building requirement, et cetera, which I believe is 2,500 square feet. And a two-story house
okay.
to meet that, but they have to meet all of the zoning. And they have a
Any other discussion? If not, is there a motion?
All right, I'll make a motion, we recommend, that we recommend approval of this plat to City Council. Final plat for lots 1, 2, Block 1, 504 Schoolhouse Road Edition.
Okay, there's been a motion for approval. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Okay, all in favor of approval? Okay, motion passes. Moving on, agenda item 6, you got an exhibit that talks about the status of all the current development, so we don't need to spend time talking about that. But, you know, a lot of interesting information there if you want to take a look at it. And then moving on, we got some workshop topics this evening, and our mayor is present this evening, and he's going to walk us through a number of items as far as updates and sharing some information with us. We'll begin with our agenda item 7A, which is our library update.
And Chairman Kadesh, forgive me, I'm having technical difficulty. We'll give you about another 60 seconds to 2 minutes, and I should have this resolved.
The second, were you the second, Mr. Chairman? What's that? Did you make the second on the last one? Yes. Thank you, that's awesome. Thank you.
library facility you see on the right. We have 7,500 active parks currently. 1,800 of them are Haslet residents. 3,400 are Fort Worth residents, and 2,200, 2,300 are others. There's an interesting aspect of that is that now Fort Worth is building a new library on Avondale Haslet Road. Maybe 2 miles from our city limit lines. And one aspect that we are needing to consider is should Fort Worth or Haslet residents want to use that library, it costs $50 a year for each card holder. Right now, there is no fee for Haslet non-residents. We have looked at and determined if, and I only bring that up, is currently under our library, our public library. Yes, it is well sought after and because of the quality of the programs. And there are many times that this is the only room we have to do these special library programs, is Haslet residents are turned away because the room is full. But that really spurred, okay, do we need a new facility? In current library area is 3,500, almost 3,600 gross square feet. What you see here, the new library concept, would be 8,000 square feet. They could contain all their programs, have ample rooms, and expansion of new or additional amenities, put it that way, within that one building. It has been estimated that if the non-residents of Haslet, they were charged $25 a year per non-resident, that would garner approximately $150,000 a year to the city of Haslet to help pay for those additional staff members and things of that nature. So it's something that is to be considered.
May I ask a question about the library? The new one?
Yes, ma'am.
The new one in Fort Worth that they're proposing, are they gonna charge non-residents? And if so, what are they gonna charge?
The new Fort Worth Library, it's their citywide policy. Yes, they charge all non-residents, and it's $50 per year.
Do you have any sense of timing of when they're going to,
I'm sorry, what's that?
do you have any sense of the timing of when that facility will open?
It will open within 2 years, as I understand.
Okay.
Do you have any idea what the new library we're wanting to build would cost? Just ballpark.
What this library would cost?
Yeah, the one we're talking about here.
I can give you a very rough number. Why don't you take 8,000 square feet times $500 a square foot, and that's $4 million.
Say that again?
Approximately $4 million. That's at $500 a square foot.
That's about right. Okay.
There's no grants or anything that can be used?
There's no what?
Grants? Well, not a bond.
Well, I didn't say that.
No, I'm asking the question.
I don't know. I have not investigated that. There may and there may not be.
Being it's a public library, I would think there would be some kind of governmental grant out there, I don't know.
There may be.
Right?
It seems that government grants are being tightened up on. So, The first step I do is, okay, identify facilities that we possibly need and run it to the various boards that are associated with that. And we can have just a ballpark number. Of course, you won't know the true cost of it until it goes into design and it is estimated by architects and engineers. Then,
And did we learn that this land, or that's depicted in this image, that's already owned by the city? Is that correct?
no, it's not
It is
currently
not
owned.
owned. Got
It
it.
is not.
Got it. Okay.
So,
Some of it is where the building sits, where it's depicted, is not owned. But again, this is conceptual.
so, I mean, okay, just to me, it makes sense if Fort Worth is building a library 2 miles from us, that we wait and see the impact on our existing library, and then find out if, you know, if it's a lot more cost effective, even at $50 a year. I mean, a month would be different, but a year is nothing to go use that library over there. Now, granted, anybody that wants to drive over there, taking their hands, their life on Avenel Haslet during rush hour or during anything like that, you know, but still, just the thought of wait and see a little bit. I don't see that as a priority with that one being built right now. That's just my thought.
Oh, I'm not saying it's a priority.
I know.
I'm
I just-
identifying, it's out there.
Out there somewhere.
That question is out there,
Yeah.
generated by, you know, whether it be the library director and library board. This is just, I'm a vehicle of communication.
Okay, so the library board is actually bringing that forward and saying, is this a possibility? Can we look at something like this? All right.
So we do have funding in our budget to retain a consultant who would look at Haslet and our future growth. Our future growth is estimated when all the housing is completed, that would be around somewhere now 9,000 in population. Currently, we're about 4,500, so we look at in maybe the next 5 years or less, depending on the economy, doubling our population. So this is just, I'm keeping it in front of you as an item. Coupled with that, if something like that were to happen, the thought has, to me, is that library, existing library, which is almost 3,600 gross square feet, could be converted to administrative offices. And wherein lies maybe something like this, even larger, could be placed over there in addition to administrative office space. Our current office space that we have, excluding this building, but next door, is 3,000 gross square feet. So we would, we would retain that office space and then convert the library, which should not be very expensive because there's very few partition walls in there to remodel. Nonetheless, that is something that we could almost getting 2 new facilities for the price of 1. Just thinking ahead and laying it out there for planning to think about.
So I got a quick question. So our expansions, we're going to grow pretty quick. Do we need to, I hear about the idea about waiting for the other library to be built, but at the same token, are you guys going to have enough room in this place? Because if we double in size, you're not going to double your staff with the space you have, I don't think, are you? I mean, or can you? That's why I'm just concerned. we may have to, is there a plan, if we don't expand the library or move the library, is there a plan to expand your guys' offices regardless? The increase in population we're expecting?
There is no, well, I'm not, let me qualify that. Not that it has been in our mind. There are probably some very creative, inconvenient ways we could address that. Our main focus, my main focus right now, is addressing needs that are beyond our administrative building,
Fair enough,
such as water and sewer,
fair enough.
and those type of improvements. That has to happen. As far as administrative office space, I'm not, don't mean demeaning, but if I had to rent a trailer, we can run City Hall out of it. But to me, City Hall or additional office space is not the same necessity as the water lines or sewer lines that our city residents need.
That's fair. Yeah. Okay, thanks.
So that's wherein lies in priority. Just because I have it up here doesn't mean I am prioritizing it. But I will be working with you on prioritization of projects. Again, any office layout, and we would retain a professional to assist us and go through that.
So are we in a position right now where the library has to limit participation in events due to meeting space? You said that this room often gets that capacity when they do something over here. We have to turn public away. Is that a problem we need to try to resolve in the near term?
Well, I am working with the library director, and now, if a non-resident library fee were introduced, we would most likely see some attrition. Just because, at $25 a year, where can you buy something to get this kind of program for $25 a year? Well, you just can't. But yet, that is being worked on, and with myself and the library director and the library board, and a lot of that really comes on the purvey of planning, would present that program, because you read planning is charged, there is finances that come into play. And at some point, there would be need of a letter of recommendation to the city council on these various programs, and program specific.
Okay.
So, did I answer your question?
You did, thank you.
Blue Mountain Road, east and west. This is 156. As you know, last August, I think it was August timeframe, I put it to the city council after, all of North Texas crying out, we need to build Blue Mountain Road 5 lanes wide, and hearing that for several years. Okay, fine, we spent about 6-7 months in engineering and doing all the assessments, and okay, here's what it needs, and here's all the right-of-way that's got to be bought, and here's the utilities that got to be moved. And you have to do all that to determine what that project will cost, just to see what it'll cost realistically. Well, it was $55 million, and that was from Harmon Road to John Day Road. And so at the same time, I gave that, in that meeting, to the city council. I made a recommendation, because they had to vote to put it on the November ballot so the citizenry could vote on it, because that would essentially almost double your ad valorem property tax. And at the same time I gave it to them on that agenda item, I recommended they not put it on the November election. And of course, they did not. And that. But we didn't stop there. You know, what key improvements could we do to help alleviate the backup on Blue Mountain Road? It's a single, it's a single line backup. Well, one of the probably the most cost-effective, not $55 million, is to do dedicated left and right-hand turn lanes on 156, or on Blue Mountain Road, and east and west, but ensuring that these dedicated left and right-hand turn lanes are deep enough to accept those queuings, so there isn't a tremendous through lane wait to get through that traffic light. That is, that's been in engineering for a while to determine what that cost will be. And that will be, we'll bring that back to you, and then from there, we'll go to the city council with it. And see, I have no idea, I've learned, stop guessing what roads will cost. It's just,
Yeah.
everyone is situational, and each one bears its own cost. There's no rule of thumb.
Have we gone to TxDOT and just asked if they could change the cycle times for the westbound traffic from 4 p.m. to 6 p.m.? Because
Yes, we have.
that in of itself could significantly reduce the the congestion at that intersection if they just added 20 or 30 seconds more to the westbound cycle time.
And will you take note of that, please?
Yeah, as a daily commuter through there today, I was sitting all the way at the top of the hill on Blue Mound waiting for the traffic light. And if we just added more time to that signal cycle, I think that problem would go away. I was past the vines all the way up the hill. Yeah.
You've seen it back up that far?
I was sitting there today that way, yeah. Yeah.
It was backed up today at 3:30.
So I think if there was just certain times that, and I'm not saying we shouldn't continue to pursue, something like this, but I think there's things that we could do that would be a whole lot cheaper that would have an immediate impact. So that would be my suggestion.
Agreed. I know that there are certain lights that we've taken other requests here of recent, within the last week or two. Because I go through these subdivision meetings and thrown out, okay, and I don't recall exactly what light it was, so James Tucker is the one that interfaces with TxDOT on those requests with regard to requesting, what can they do to improve the cycle time. Westport Parkway belongs to Haslet.
Yeah.
It doesn't?
It's a TxDOT intersection too.
That intersection is TxDOT.
Oh, Westport and 156? Okay, yes, that belongs to TxDOT.
Westport backs up.
City of Haslet has a new light on Harmon and Westport Parkway, which belongs to the city.
Yeah.
So, very good.
No, it just goes back.
Yeah. I just think we should keep all remedies in our toolkit.
Yes.
This being one of them, working with TxDOT should be another one.
Yeah. Mayor, if I may, yeah, we routinely talk to TxDOT about making modifications to those intersections, specifically Blue Mountain and Westport. Blue Mountain specifically, there has been a large boring crew through there, and that's been causing some issues with the light cycling, just because you have people parked in those areas for detection. But they have agreed to look at Westport again to see if there's any changes. But when there's equal traffic on, westbound on Blue Mountain, but also on 156, usually I see those in tandem, and it's just there's no way to add. You add any time to one side, you back up further on the other, because we're seeing the 156 back up all the way to Avondale as well, and usually those are in tandem. but we've asked them to look at specifically based on certain times of day, and they've made modifications. I believe there's a schedule in place now.
We have also asked them to provide blinking yellow light left-hand turns.
Yes, I put in that request last week for them to look at adding flashing, yield left turns.
Yeah, okay.
And then sometime in the future here is, hopefully not too distant future, I'll be reaching out to the transportation commissioners to address FM 156. And where in the communities expressed, they don't want 7 lanes at 55 miles an hour. At our intersections, no one realizes it or noticed it, it's 9 lanes wide at our intersections. Can you imagine that? But is that to bring this to the commissioner's attention, is that the community wants, and which would serve, we have seen the traffic counts, and a 5-lane, 2 lanes each direction, north and south, in the center turn lane, would accommodate that traffic count, and it be in a curb and gutter boulevard type design. So that's our objective. But we are still seeking solutions, trying to help alleviate this, and the light cycling timings, yes. I think rarely does a month go by that we don't contact TxDOT twice on any of our lights. So, but thank you, knowing we get a lot of feedback. People going to work early, coming home, and things of that nature. Our traffic patterns do fluctuate. Sometimes I look, get up in the morning, where's all the traffic? Did the rapture come and I got left behind, or what? So it's, what do they call it? Progress? All right. Next item. This is not a proposed design or anything of that nature. It's something I have found. In fact, I found about 3 versions of this. This is the fire station park, and it's an expansion of it. We have a total of 18 acres out there. Maybe a third of it is developed, but yet we need to go ahead and get a plan together, cost it out, and we know what we're pursuing. So, and yes, planning is very much involved in that. As right now, the sewer line is being brought through to serve the fire station, but it'll be brought along on the south side of the property line of this 18 acres back here, and a restroom facility would be going back. Permanent restroom facility is, in fact, it's in the budget line item to build. But the park layout determination, what we have, think about it. What kind of fields do we want back there? Just think about it. Of course, soccer. I've been given requests, football fields.
Mayor, I'm sorry, wasn't Laterra supposed to give us soccer fields along the railroad?
Laterra?
Uh-huh. Wasn't that in the plan when it was first discussed and brought to us? I thought that was part of their plan.
I have never seen a soccer field where? In Laterra?
Along the railroad tracks.
I have not ever seen any plan like that.
Do you remember that?
I don't remember that. Not saying you're wrong. I don't remember it.
It's not in any of their development plans.
No. It might have been something that was discussed and it never happened.
Sure. So that's out there. Think about it. listen to your community, listen to the folks around you, and let's get some ideas out there.
So is everything inside the blue, is that all city-owned property today, or is that plant-
Inside the blue is
it-
all, that constitutes that 18 acres.
And is there plans for any additional acquisition of land around that area by the city?
No, there's not.
Okay.
I believe everything that can be acquired has been acquired. And except this one, there's a house right up. You see where my cursor is?
I do, yeah.
That property owner could be approached. And what that would be for, I don't know. I know, I'll say this, is that unless you got a plan and you've thought it through and you know what you're going to do, I wouldn't propose that anybody go propose to buy something. I know that happened down here where that little pond is shown right there. That property owner, actually, the property was condemned. And it was all for the purpose of building tennis courts. They acquired it. And then they go, oh, well, we can't build any tennis courts here. Well, you should have thought of that before you condemned the guy's house. That kind of thing will not happen. So, but all the blue is the property line City of Haslet has, but there is 18 acres out here that's been dedicated as parkland, which does not include the fire station.
Will that in and out on Blue Mound Road, would that cause problems with people cutting through?
Say that again?
The road entrance on Blue Mound Road.
Right here?
Yeah, would that cause a problem with people cutting through to come back out on 156?
I can't promise that. What I have learned, people will do anything. They will do anything. Every one of us can do anything at any time. So would that cause a problem? It looks like that would be such a labyrinth to get through to try to take a shortcut. They'd be prone not to do that. But who knows what human beings will do. So, but I know that's been a topic. Could there be an alternate access into the park area besides by the fire station? And it very well could be. All to be determined. All right. This one right here, you've seen this before, the Haslet Farmers Market Community Teaching Gardens. Current status is, yes, the Congressional Appropriations Committee did approve and recommend our project. And it is in the, I think it's a $2.7 billion HUD package that they break it down in different packages. It's under community development. Huh? Yes. Well, the congressional resolution just recently passed to prevent a government shutdown essentially approved the funds. Now, but yet Congress has got to go back to each one of these specific, okay, you get to spend this now. You get to spend this now. So there are still some things to go through. We have not been notified. They have my phone number. You've got $2.3 million now. So we still, but that's in place. The good thing is I traced it all. I saw the bill. And yes, now in the bill itself, the city of Haslet nor any other city is not mentioned by name, is they get the Appropriations Committee gets all entity requests per congressional district, and they are listed by name. So I found our project and the 2.3 million requested in the resolution that the committee sent to Congress for approval. And we are in there by name for $2.3 million. What I did, you're able to find in common at the very bottom, it has a sum total of all those project requests, which was $2.7 billion. Of course, that's not all appropriation requests. There's aviation, there's highways, there's all kinds of, so this is a small piece of it, but that was in the bill before Congress under that category, that full request of $2.7 billion. So we're waiting. I'm sitting by the phone. Feels like date night.
So
All right.
if that approval or if that funding comes through, are we ready to start construction? Are all the plans drawn up, or is there still a lot of architectural work and grading about,
We have
studies to be done?
In fact, this week, right? We're starting further cleanup. If you'll know that front fence line that we have along Schoolhouse Road and up the side, and there's a little grove of trees in the back part that probably sits about right where these gardens would be, just in front of it. We have a contractor coming in, is going to clean all of that out. So we're taking small steps, but I have it in the line item budget that was approved, and not for October, for this fiscal year, is funds to retain an architect to start the design of these facilities and the engineering, and which includes all of it. And so we'll be getting that started here soon, because I did, one of the questions in the application was, can you expend these funds within 12 months upon approval? I go, yes. So we got to be ready. That 2.3 does not pay for the architectural engineering. It pays for construction only. And that's what that request was. So we're awaiting congressional vote, but we will be getting the architectural engineering started here very soon. That was the fiscal year 2024 request. I'm in the middle of another request that I am generating. It is for a community teaching kitchen, where you have multiple stations inside this building. And again, I've involved Texas A&M AgriLife, our county extension folks, and but yet going through the community and talking to different people, and just they're excited about the concept of having this teaching kitchen. There's multiple reasons, as there were multiple reasons, many reasons, why that I had to write up to give justification for this $2.3 million request for a garden and farmer's market. Likewise for the community teaching kitchen. That is also in tune with the current administration, is nutritious type lifestyle, but I do truly believe and have seen, not just my opinion, but the art and skill of food preparation and preservation is lost. It's gone. Food preparation and, or particularly preservation is in a can or bird's eye in the frozen aisle. That's a sad thing. But there are many benefits that come along with that. But also this one last request that I would, well, I won't call it the last one, but this closes this gap between garden to table. And also it's a good community builder. Nonetheless, that is current pursuit right now. And
Now we just need to change our ordinances so everybody can keep chickens.
say that
I
again?
said, now we just need to change the ordinances so everybody can keep chickens in their backyard. Yeah.
Well, we have all kinds of interests in Haslet, Texas, and some people love chickens. Some people don't want to have nothing to do with it, much less hear them. Okay. I had a duplicate right there. I'm not going over it. It was just a duplicate from here. Current happenings in the community park. One is the Memorial Garden reconstruction. Park Board highly desired to have that reconstructed, and we have worked with them, and they desired to do it before this coming May, and for that celebration. And there are certain requirements that we have to go through. But nonetheless, working with the park board, they determined it would be best to wait, and let's keep what we have. The current garden is being renovated in just, if you notice the signature bricks that you could buy, how wavy and just out of place over time it became. All that's been removed, it's leveled out, and all of those will be reset. So it looks very nice. The new crushed granite rock is additional loads are being brought in because over time, kids play with it, though it is gone, and now you see exposed black weed, what do you call it? Weed what?
It's weed
Weed
barrier.
block. So all of that will be refurbished, and it'll look very nice for our memorial event. And we are retaining a landscape architect to produce a design so everybody knows here's what you get, and work with whatever changes they desire to see, and then a contractor knows what to build, and we'll know how much it costs. Currently, they have there is a $50,000 line item to reconstruct this. It may be enough, it may not, but we'll find out. But it's a worthy project. It's so that's coming.
Is the city ever approached by, I'll just use the scouting organization, people working on Eagle Scout projects to do a community service project or a conservation project within the city?
Yes.
Do you ever hear requests like that?
Yes.
And do we ever take advantage of it?
Sometimes. The most recent one I received from a young man working on an Eagle Scout or something like that, and he proposed to do a pet bereavement garden. And I did not act on that. And so,
But there's some are pretty ambitious. Like mine, I built a nature trail in my city in one of the parks, but But yeah, I do a lot with the scouting organization. I see some really ambitious project ideas. I just wondered if anybody ever did.
That's the only one I have received in several years. I do know that the 4-H, we now have a 4-H charter here in Haslet called Lone Star 4-H, I believe it is. They meet on the first Tuesday of each month at 6 or 6:30. I would encourage you all to come and visit one of their meetings. It is, I'll tell you what, to see those young people, it just warms my heart. Yes, there is hope. And, but they have reached out and, you know, what can they do? And we've got them connected with Katrina White, our special events coordinator, and they'll be out manning the Easter egg hunt to help with all the, you know, labor and things that's needed there. But they are, they're very active and they're wanting to, now, do they have the funds to expend on a project? That answer is no. And, but this is their home now. This is where they meet. And with open arms. This right here, James is the author of this, and these are current projects. What's completed is the atrium HVAC for the restrooms. They were put in there primarily for freeze protection, but will have the benefit of summertime ventilation as well. So that's completed. The tennis court reservation system, of course, you know, that all got started by one of the EDCs wanting to buy a park bench, put on the tennis court. And then, okay, yeah, well, what if someone comes and slices up the top on it? What are we going to do? Well, I think, you know, I think about a $5,000 park bench, we bought a $50,000 security system. But it's great. It's worked out great. James Tucker, I got to give him all the credit here. He picked out the systems. And what happens now, yes, there are cameras out there that cover every aspect of those courts because we were getting vandalism and things of that nature. But also at the same time, you cannot gain entry into either one of those courts unless you make a reservation. So they know who you are and what time you've been in. And there's camera. I don't think it keeps forever. We're not hunting anybody down, but if there is a report of vandalism, the tape can, or we see it, it can be go back and review it. There it is. And if we have that timestamp, we know who made the reservation. And I hate to have to do that kind of stuff, but that it is. It's there now, and it's fully operational. Thank you, James. Also, the TAP trail, if you've been out on the TAP trail, there are, well, four areas here. Is it four, James?
Yes.
That are in desperate need of repair and or reconstruction. Under the 156, that TAP trail that passes through there, that's always been a problem because the water, it was designed for the water to flow over the sidewalk, so it was a great place to grow moss. Well, that's being, it has been redesigned, and to alter that flow under a sidewalk, I'm not sure exactly. I think it might be like kind of a little bridge over it all of some sorts. I'm not quite sure. That's being resolved. But all of, as well as a number of other areas that have just frankly failed in the park on that TAP trail design. But that's all being addressed. Those bids were let out on the 1st of March. So they'll be coming back with here in the next week or so. And it won't take long once the appropriate contractor is chosen by engineering. That'll go to City Council for recommendation of contract award, and they'll go to work. Estimated by September this year, all that work will be finished. Picnic table and pavilion is be down here somewhere, right here. The small pavilion that you see just right across the street, the park, the small little pavilion, picnic pavilion, that will be, another one will be built near the small child playground area to give parents place over there. And likewise, that was put out to bid 1st of March, and all of this work will most likely be taken by the same contractor. Is that the intent, James?
That's correct. It's been bid out as one project.
Yeah. So, making progress. That, ladies and gentlemen, is the conclusion of my presentation. I'll take any questions you may have, but you'll see this again. I'm going to keep this in front of you.
Thank you for the detailed updates. Appreciate you doing that.
Thank you.
Any questions for the mayor? Okay, anything for our future meetings? We don't need an executive session this evening, so we're moving on to agenda item 9.
Not at this time.
No, I'm sorry, agenda item 10, excuse me. Sorry about that.
Not at this time.
Okay, and Doreen?
Make a motion to adjourn.
We are adjourned. The time is 7:20, I can't tell what time it is, 7:26 PM.